What is sovereign carbon and why is it different from any other form of carbon, a voluntary carbon credit or a Corsia eligible credit or the like, or any of the various flavors that have gone before? Well, it's fundamentally different in that it is a legally recognized financial instrument, right? It is something that you have recourse over. It's a contract that's legally binding and you have legal recourse over. Another carbon credit is not. A voluntary carbon credit is not a legally recognized instrument in most jurisdictions anywhere in the world. Not here in the United States, not in the European Union, etc. And so, simply put, I'll give you an analogy. Would you buy real estate? Would you buy your house without a title, right? Without that certificate that is proof that the person that's selling you that house actually owns it and has the legal right to sell it to you so that you can legally own it after you buy it. Before SADAR and before Laconic and Sovereign Carbon Securities, there was no title company for carbon. You were completely at risk, and fraudsters were selling the same credit multiple times. You were not able to validate whether you were the only owner of that particular claim. And because of that, not a lot of transactions really happened. And so Sovereign Carbon Securities, and there's a legal definition of security that I won't bore you with and the like, but it means something very particular, that this is a bona fide share of the productive output of the government. So when the government decreases its carbon ambition, you get a slice. It's just like buying a share of Google. Why do you buy a share of Google? It gives you a slice of the ownership of the company, right? It entitles you to a sheer share of the profits, et cetera, et cetera. And if Google becomes more valuable over time, the price of your stock goes up. The value of your stock goes up. This is the same thing. For the first time, you can buy a share of the government's decarbonization ambition. And it's backed by a government, not by a private project developer that's undercapitalized, may or may not actually finish the development, may or may not actually sequester the amount of carbon that they have pledged to. And so sovereign carbon really is the future of the global carbon markets. It's a bona fide instrument that is legal. It's a legitimate thing. By way of another analogy, you could think of carbon before sovereign carbon as trading baseball cards. You can make a lot of money trading baseball cards, and they have value, but that value is very subjective. And so you may think your Babe Ruth rookie card is worth $150,000, but you have to go find a person that's willing to pay you that $150,000, right? You can't log on to a brokerage screen. You can't sell it instantaneously at will, and you never really know what it's worth. You can tell your buddies over beers that it's worth $150,000, but until you find somebody to actually pay that for you, you don't know what its true value is. A security is very different, right? It's modelable. There's price transparency, there's liquidity in a marketplace because there are market makers, companies that buy and sell these instruments all day long. And because of that, it's very easy to transact in carbon for the first time. Now go back to that Google analogy. If you own that one share of Google and you decide you want to sell it at lunchtime today, you can sell it in seconds, right? You click the sell button on your brokerage account and the transaction's done. Now you can do that with sovereign carbon securities for the first time. Before the security existed, it could take months to transact in that position. So effectively, once you bought the carbon credit, you only could do one thing with it, and that's use it to retire against your emissions. Now, that's a valid use, but you were giving up on the financial value and on the flexibility of managing your exposure to that carbon. And so we're moving from this baseball card kind of trading market into a fully institutionalized, regulated, compliant global market in these securities. And that's what's necessary to move the trillions of dollars of volume that's necessary to meet our net zero ambitions.